Listen, you're an Arsenal fan,
Yep,
right?
correct.
So try and answer this question without your Arsenal hat on. I know you're. Oh, it should be Arsenal. It should be Arsenal. If all the big hitters come in for him,
Arsenal. No, go on.
and Arsenal don't win the Premier League,
Yeah.
do you think Arsenal is the right? I don't even know why I'm asking you this.
But no, listen, Arsenal have got to be in the Champions League first,
Right, which they will be.
which they will be. But if they can win the league as well, that puts them in such a strong position. And the reason I say that, if you look at the Arsenal squad, it's the youngest average age squad in the Premier League. There's quite clearly a plan with what Arsenal are doing, with the likes of Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, Odegaard's not that old. You've got Thomas Partey, who's fantastic. I know Granit Xhaka's probably the one position where Declan goes in. Granit then has to maybe potentially drop to the bench. Saliba, Gabriel. It's a young squad that Arsenal, Ramsdale. It's a young squad, and you can quite clearly see that Arteta is in charge of what goes on and what Arsenal's trying to do. So, of course, they're going to be in the mix. If someone like Manchester City comes, it's working with a manager like Pep. It's incredibly hard to say no. One, the finances that they've got. Two, the football that they play. And three, let's be honest, Manchester City will be competing for every single trophy for the next however long it is. Yeah. So that's one. Chelsea's an interesting one because he was there as a kid.
He knows Mason Mount incredibly well.
He knows all of these guys incredibly well. It's just where Chelsea are going to be come end of the season, because at the minute, even as my dad's probably thinking, yeah, what are you going to say now, son? It's probably at the minute.
Quoting your dad's thoughts now.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
It's a bit of a mess. Do you know what I mean? I like Graham Potter. I want him to succeed, but they're not putting performances in. They've got players. They're signing players left, right, and centre. There's no clear plan of what they're trying to do. And then there's your lot. Now, your lot. I mean, there is Liverpool. If Liverpool are not in the Champions League, then I don't know if he'll go there. But your lot, I'm thinking, do you not go in for him now? Because you've got Casemiro. Do you need Declan Rice as well?
He's getting older, but still a genius.
He's still unbelievable, Casemiro.
Well, Declan Rice is for the future, right?
But Declan Rice wants to play now.
No, I know. He would listen. He would start every game for United, of course.
So Declan and Casemiro?
Well, it could happen, right?
Yeah.
United won't be weaker with that.
Do you know what? Potentially with Declan, though, I think Declan's more than just a holder. I think he's that. I think he can. I know at the minute for West Ham, he sits in that noble role where he protects. But I think with his attributes and what he's got, I think he's more driving for it. He's quicker than people think. He's powerful. Maybe if Casemiro was to sit, he was the one that could box to box midfielder. Do you know what I mean? So I'd like to think if Arsenal win it, they've got an opportunity there. And I think Arsenal are in the mix just as well as other clubs.
Let's find out more on who is actually leading that race. Let's bring back onto the show our football transfer expert, Alex Crook. Crookie, thanks for holding on. Where do you think the most likely destination is going to be for Declan Rice?
I think that's a massive question. I always felt like Chelsea, for the reasons that you've said. We know there's long-standing interest. He was there as a kid. Obviously, he's got this bromance with Mason Mount, which I felt would play a part. But for once, I agree with Benty. I think Chelsea at the moment look like they're a club a little bit rudderless in terms of the signings that they've made. I think it's highly unlikely they're going to make it into the top four, and therefore play in the Champions League next season unless they were to win it. And I think Declan Rice's big motivation for this move is not necessarily financial, because he's going to be made a very rich man whichever club he joins. I think he wants to play in the Champions League. He said that during the World Cup. Didn't go down well, those comments, with some West Ham fans. So I can see why Arsenal are trying to steal an early March, and this would be a game-changing transfer for Arsenal in many ways, not least because the finances that are going to be talked about. It's going to be a £100 million transfer. They've never paid £100 million Arsenal for a player. But I guess if they're back in the Champions League, if they're even maybe going to go there as champions, maybe they will want to make that kind of statement signing. But let's be honest, Declan Rice has his pick of clubs. Manchester United are interested because Casemiro isn't getting any younger. He's been a fantastic addition to the squad. He's been a transformative signing for them, but he's not going to be there forever. So they'll want to be part of the conversation. Manchester City I don't necessarily see, and obviously we know that Liverpool have Jude Bellingham as their top midfield target. So at the moment I would say either Arsenal, Chelsea or Manchester United, but let's see what happens between now and the end of the season.
Crookie, are we kind of being a bit narrow-minded there? Do you think maybe abroad? Do you think abroad could happen for him or not?
I haven't heard that, to be honest, and I think, listen, he's a good player, Declan Rice. I think we're probably still to see him realise his full potential, because Danny Murphy, I think it was talking at the top of the package about, can he go on and emulate what Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard did. The big difference between Declan Rice and those players is what they offer going forward. Now, Declan Rice is a box-to-box player. He can score goals, he can create, but he doesn't post the same sort of numbers that Gerrard and Lampard do. And I think maybe that's why there isn't the level of interest from abroad. I think if he goes to a club like an Arsenal or a Chelsea or a Manchester United, where perhaps he doesn't have to worry quite so much about the defensive side of the game, where there's better players around him, maybe that attacking side of the game may flourish. I think it could be really interesting.
Crookie, you're a superstar as always. Thanks for holding on. We'll speak to you in a bit.
Speak to you tomorrow. Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
Man. There you go, the wonderful Alex Crook giving us his view on Declan Rice. Benny, let me just ask you, how important is a manager to a player in a move? So for argument's sake, if he's linked to Chelsea, you've got Graham Potter, right? I think it's fair to say we don't really necessarily know how long Graham Potter's going to be at the club for.
Well, we don't know what the situation is there one bit.
We don't.
No.
And then you've got Mikel Arteta at your club, who looks like he's going to be there for a considerable
long time.
amount of time.
And it also looks like he controls everything.
And they're building, and they're a young side. So if you're a player, if you're in Declan's position, how important is the manager? Give me percentage terms. Manager percentage versus club percentage.
I'd say the club's more than the manager. I'd say probably about 70-30 maybe.
Well, okay.
But you say that, but it depends on the manager, because you look at Graham Potter, like he's still trying to achieve things at that level. He's only just got to that level, that elite level of club. So I think if Declan went to Chelsea, it would probably be the club and obviously the friendship and the finances that would probably outweigh the manager. But if he was to go to someone like a Liverpool or a Man City, then the manager's massive. Because if he's going there and having a conversation with Pep, he's like a football genius, or Klopp. Then I think then the
That's
manager,
a big pull, right?
Then the manager, I think, maybe outweighs the club. In them two scenarios. But certainly with Arsenal and Arteta, the way Arteta will probably sell it to him is about the project. And if Arsenal win the league at the end of this year and then back in the Champions League,
you won't win the league.
Okay, but if they do,
you won't.
That's a good selling point in itself. Well, listen, we've just won the league. Look at the age of the squad.
Yeah,
fantastic. You know what?
You won't win the league, Betty. You know that.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein, Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.